What's going on, guys? Doing another video real quick. Just want to talk about a couple other fights that went on Saturday. DAZN had a couple of fights. The Philly card with Tevin Farmer, Joan O'Carroll. I think that's how you say his name. Um, it was all right. Tevin Farmer outboxed him. Carroll was tough. He was game, but more or less easy work for Tevin Farmer. I'm looking at the 130-pound rankings right now, trying to see what would be a decent fight for Tevin until him and Tank Davis can get it on. Um, you got Jamel Herring. Shafikov went back down to 130. Lee Selby. Um, Man, 130 is just not really cracking. Um, uh, yeah, it's just, it's not really cracking. Um, Excuse me. They really need to make that Tank fight happen, man. Um, you know, I don't think it's necessarily a rush or anything, but it's just 130 is kind of like a unspoken division. Like there's just it feels like that's a division that's kind of in a rut. They haven't had outside of Tank and Tevin, Miguel Burchell. There's really not much going on at 130. Um, you know, Only main thing to really say about 130 is really when is Tank and Tevin Farmer gonna fight. They've been having that beef for what, a couple years now. So to me, they're kind of overdue to get it on. The zone offered Tank I think 5 mil for the fight. Tevin said, what are they offering me though? So if Tank gets five, and it's a unification. So I mean, Tank's the bigger star, but so if he gets 5 mil, what would be a fair price for Tevin? 3, 4 mil. You know, because I doubt they would do it 50-50, but I don't think Tevin should take too much less of of a pay cut. But I mean, DAZN's did a good job of keeping these fighters busy, but we still need to see some big fights. So I don't know. Maybe they can do a co-promotional deal. I mean, if Mayweather and Pacquiao finally made the fight happen, then there's no real excuse for anybody else who's beneath that level. So I think Tank's probably going to take a tune-up somewhere in the summer. Tevin probably the same thing, fight someone in the summer, and then I would say late fall or early winter. Tank and Tevin should try to make that happen. It's a great East Coast fight. It's a fight that's been brewing. Two athletic boxers, southpaws. Tank obviously has speed and power. Tevin speed. Tank kind of like Earl Spence, better boxer than people think. Tevin in his last couple of fights showed that he's not a bad inside fighter. He's definitely down for the scrap. So um, we'll have to see what happens, man. But hopefully that's a fight they can make. They also had Sulecki versus Gabe Rosado. That actually wasn't a half bad fight. Gabe was getting outboxed pretty decently early, but round six or so he was doing a little bit better, and then obviously round nine with the two knockdowns. Um, so Gabe does what Gabe always does. He always makes it interesting. He had a couple of nice moments against Triple G, a couple of nice moments on Lemieux. I think after he got dropped, he started doing better versus Peter Quillen. Um, I think a couple of times I thought he got snubbed in a couple of fights. His last fight, Luis Arias, I thought he won that one. Um, Martin Murray, I thought he beat Martin Murray in a close one. Uh, who else? Jalen Love. That was like, a couple of years ago, but I thought he won that one. I think something weird happened with that one. It might have been a no contest, but I think Gabe Rosado was like 24 and 12. 24, 12 and 1 now. Um, I easily would say he has the best resume at 160, win, lose, or draw. He's tough. He's game. He can kind of box. Decent power. He's not a bad fighter. He continues to show that he's not a washed fighter, so he can still compete. Um, I don't think he's good enough to beat the elite guys, but he can contend with the contenders, so to speak. Um, Sounds like I think Selecki won the WBO international belt. So um, obviously Demetrius Andrade has the WBO world belt. So hint, hint for the boxing fans, that's probably the next order of business for Boo Boo. That's not a bad fight actually. I like Selecki. He took Hugo Centeno's O. Centeno's a solid fighter. Um, he just beat Rosado. Decent amateur background. Gave Danny Jacobs a pretty competitive fight. So um, we'll see. We'll see what Selecki can do. Lantas Fox, he had a good moment on Boo Boo, even though he got skunked for the most of the fight. Um, Walter, how do I say his name? I don't want to slaughter it. I hate messing up people's names. Walter, let's see if I can find it for y'all. Walter Contandacqua. I think if I got that right. Yeah, Fox. Contandacqua. That's Duke and Parks. He was tough. He was game versus Boo Boo. I think he got dropped 4 times in that fight. But Demetrius Andrade is definitely due for a big fight, man. I think the best names on his resume is probably Vanis Matarosen, who dropped him in the first round. Brian Rose, always a solid fighter at 54-60. Not a world beater, but he's all right. Willie Nelson. I think he had a version of the WBO belt before he lost to Marta Rose, and so I think those are Demetrius Andrade's 3 best wins easily. So if he beats Selecki, that's probably one of his more notable wins if he's able to beat him. I like the Polish school of boxing. They got some good boxers. Andreas Far is pretty good. I think he's at cruiserweight now, but he was always a solid fighter. I always liked him. Um, Adam Kaunaski. I'm sorry for slaughtering his name. He's a heavyweight. I like him a lot. I know on the Spence Mikey Garcia card they talked about Adam Kanauki fighting Chris Arreola. That's not a bad fight. I wouldn't mind seeing that. Um, Artur Spilka was giving Deontay Wilder some problems before he got crucified. Um, so Polish, they got some cool fighters, man. They represent pretty well. I like, they box pretty well. They're tough, decent power. They got heart. I like the Polish fighters. They got some pretty good ones. So if it's Boo Boo versus Selecki, that's definitely a quality fight. Um, I'd probably pick Boo Boo by decision, but that'd be a good fight. I think Selecki with his, I think they're both probably. I think Boo Boo's 6'1", and Selecki's probably like 6 foot. So those aren't bad fights. That's not a bad fight. I think the end game for the year would be Boo Boo versus Triple G. I don't think Triple G should just get an easy tune-up and then get a Canelo or Triple G bag. I think he has to, just like everyone else, work his way back to the rankings. So, um, Canelo and Jacobs, that's a 50-50 fight. I don't know about the judges, but on paper, that's definitely a high quality fight. So, um, I think Triple G is gonna have to fight either Boo Boo or Charlo. Well, Charlo actually has to sign with the Zone first. I think Al Heyman he's shown that he's willing to work with the Zone. So I don't see why Charlo shouldn't. To me, the best names in the division are there. All the main belts are on that side. So to me, it only makes sense to go to the Zone for Jamal, as long as they don't offer him nothing stupid. It seems like the most logical choice. And like I said earlier, Boo Boo Selecki, that's good. probably Boo Boo Triple G end of the year. Probably the at least I know that's Eddie Hearn and Demetrius Andre's goal. I don't know about Triple G. You know, we'll see what he wants to do. But you know, definitely stay tuned. Subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you guys think. Definitely drop a comment. Hit that like or dislike button, whichever. Um, Other than that, you guys have a good one.